it was like the lowest of lows that I ever hit, because I lost my way of expression. And just like having everything written off and being told you're fine, you start to believe that you're fine and fine.
Like, this is normal.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't know what you're searching for with fulfillment, because you don't fully understand what will fulfill you. You have to try different things sometimes. Remember to enjoy the little things, because we often are just looking at such the big picture moments that we forget that it is good.
Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to the Long-Term Podcast. I'm your host, Advin Villa. Today, we have NAIT graduate and Photographic Technology, photographer, and dancer/choreographer, Emily Stodola. We will discuss the importance of personal and hobbies time, handling creative dry spells, and self-help importance, taking time for yourself to heal. Everyone, welcome.
Well, I mean, it's good. It's like fun to just like be able to, well, like one, it's like reconnecting with people. I haven't seen you in like so long, so it's nice to reconnect. What?
High school reunion. You saw me.
I was like the high school reunion. That was the last time. And then like before that, it was high school.
And
so
also
it's nice being able to reconnect.
Yeah, the majority of the listeners as well, they're people that we went to school with.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like nice being able to like, because I've listened to a couple of those episodes, and like, so it's nice learning from people that we went to high school and like listening to their experiences and like what they're currently doing now and what they're going through. And then, really cool.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, thank you for coming on the Long-Term Podcast.
Thank you.
Emily Stodola, everyone. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Let's see. Well, currently work at the Telus World of Science, Edmonton, and working in the box office there. Really fun. And then I'm also starting my own photography business, Stodola Creations, which has been super fun. And then besides that, I also teach dance a bit, and then also like freestyle and choreography. Just love being creative. Just doing whatever I can that's really fun, like different hobbies and stuff. Love doing puzzles, doing Lego sets, just hanging out with friends too. Just anything in like creative ways. I love being creative.
Yeah. What's it like working at the Telus World of Science?
Oh, it's kind of crazy at times.
Kids, hey?
Oh, a lot of kids, especially in like the school season. So many school groups every single day. But it's so fun. I love interacting with kids and like getting to see what their favorite part of science is. And then, like in my job, I get to go watch different movies throughout the day and even just explore the science center. So it's super fun just being able to re-explore sciences and like be curious again like a kid.
And tell me about your business.
Yeah, so I've been working on it for about a year now, and started it while I was in school at NAIT for Photographic Technology, and just really found that I wanted to do something for myself. I liked being in charge and being in lead of my own like journey and like destiny. And so I really just wanted to take charge of my photography. I didn't want to be working for someone else. I just wanted to take projects that I really liked and wanted to do and photograph what I wanted. And I found the best way to do that is to like start my own business and just be my own leader.
Yeah, it's definitely a big step to start your own business. And we had talked about it yesterday, where do you even start, right? Did all these questions onto a business side of things, like, which clients? Because then when you start for a company that already exists, there's already like a base foundation. Okay. And how did you grapple with all these questions? Where did you start? How did you start?
A big thing that helped me was my teachers, because we had a business class in school, and they really just helped us like guide us in what we like wanted most. And they were just very supportive in like being your own like leader and decider. And like the questions can be really difficult, especially of like not knowing where to start. But like the best thing you can do is just start, honestly. Like it's very scary to think that, but you can really start anything out of nothing. Like you don't need like a big place. You don't need an established thing. You don't need anything to be fully registered yet. You can just start like your own little thing and like making money and things. You can just start putting your name out there however you want, really. Like you don't, as long as you have like a little bit of gear, like the essential equipment you need, you can just get started.
It seems to be an ongoing theme of this podcast where the people that do start something that is beyond their physical reality, where it is about a business, or if it's about some endeavor or creative kind of artistry of modeling or making a song, is that the most common advice is just to start, right?
Yeah.
And
And like,
because you
it's
can
scary
simmer in that.
advice
It's
and so
terrifying.
simple because
Yeah.
it's so simple. You just have to
Mhm.
start. And it's like, what do you mean I just have to start? How do I
Yeah.
just start?
Yeah.
And it's just, at some point, you just got to like break down that barrier in your mind of I'm scared or I can't do it, whatever's stopping you, and just go for it. Like, because a big thing for me with photography is I thought, oh, I need to have a certain amount of clients. I need to have a certain amount of jobs booked a month to consider myself a photographer. Or, I need to have certain things established before I consider myself a business. But then talking to my teachers, they were like, no, you don't need that stuff. You can have, no clients and just put out your portfolio and start asking and just put yourself out there. And like a big thing is they taught us that is like, don't be afraid to like charge and like value yourself. That's a big thing, is like know your worth and your value and what you are doing. And like, don't be afraid of that and feel confident in yourself.
Yeah, it is daunting, but it's often the most daunting feats that where we do relish in the glory, because you suffer, and then once you bring the imagination that you have, kind of the ideas, to life, you see it, and then you go, whoa, a month ago I didn't have this. Now look at what I've done. And then 3 months later, 6 months later, and then in that time frame, there's all this self-doubt. There's, oh, am I good enough? Or is this, oh, I can improve on that. And you go through this roller coaster of emotions. And yeah, it's just learning from that every day, take it day by day. And no matter how you feel, you just keep charging on and putting yourself out there.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to keep moving forward and keep pushing forward at the end of the day. Like there's been times where I've gone a couple months with not even photographing anything, whether it was like a personal project or a gig. I've just done like no photography for a few months, and I was completely okay with that because I had other things going on, other hobbies, other passions that I was still being fulfilled by. And I knew that, okay, these months are slow in photography, but it will pick up eventually because, everything has like their seasons and their courses.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to like realize you're not always going to be like successful. Not everything's not always going to be uphill. It's going to go, down for a bit. And you just got to manage that and be okay with that until it picks back up, because it will pick back up eventually.
Yeah, you need to be able to stomach those times where business isn't as good, and that's okay. That's part of life.
Yeah, exactly. It's part of life, and it's just learning how to manage that and like not have that become so like guilting and like so like debilitating on yourself that it makes you stop or quit. It's just like understanding that that's just, a part of life. There's always going to be lulls and dull moments that you just got to work through and keep pushing through.
I've been there where it's, oh, why am I doing this? Is anybody really listening? Like, what? Like, they should listen to other podcasts. They have better episodes. But then it's like these same people that now have millions of plays, downloads, started somewhere. I mean, albeit maybe they were already very credible at the start, already had like a massive audience. There is this opportunity in today's day and age where we have access to social media. There is TikTok, and while there are all these talks of how social media can be degrading for the brain, it can be a positive in your life of connecting people. Like if social media didn't exist, I probably wouldn't be able to reach out as easily as, DMing someone on Instagram and then going, hey, you want to come on? Or yeah, and it's just
like social media, the way it's influenced so many things is quite crazy. And the way it has influenced creative fields as well is like a big thing because, yeah, like photographers, dancers, writers, poets, like podcast people, like anyone, like influencers nowadays, all of that is social content and only is really done through social media. And, most photographers, they get their clients through social media and through, advertising on social media and, friends and people clicking stories and seeing all that. So like social media is a very big presence and a very big part of our lives now. And it's just making sure that you are on the right side in the positive parts of social media and using it for like good and positive reasons and not like negative.
Yeah, like many things, you can use it to, it's like a diet. And I've listened to this guy, Chris Williamson, and he goes, yeah, whatever you put into your body, that's how you're going to manifest. That's how you're going to feel. That's how you're going to look in terms of muscle mass and in terms of kind of the fat or calorie consumption. But then for your brain, it's the same thing. Like whatever you put into your brain, that's how it's going to manifest itself. If you're looking at just doom and gloom, negativity all the time, the news, if you're looking at things where it doesn't add any value to your life, of course, you're going to be gloomy and you're going to be negative and you're going to be pessimist. And the way my feed works is it's just a bunch of quotes and a lot of not politics here and there, but it's a bunch of self-improvement tips and podcast clips. But yeah, you could, and then there's the point too where you do overuse it. And I'm sure with anything, you can do anything like too much.
Yeah. I definitely have my days of scrolling through TikTok way too much, spending way too much time on there.
But yeah, no, you feel depleted. It's not good. But then there's the kind of the discipline that you got to instill where, yeah, there's life out there, and sure, I can keep scrolling onto this, or I could start living my life, and it's that balance, right?
Yeah, it is that balance because it is, social media is a tool to help, connect with other people and grow your business or anything. But there also is a limit to it. There is marketing and advertising that can be done in person, and you can do connections and you can make connections in person by going to different events and things. So it's just kind of having that balance of not just using social media and like social media and the internet to like grow your business and everything and connect with people, using it as a balancing tool, like having some social media presence, but also having like an in-person presence, because you can't just live on social media.
Yeah.
Your life does not just belong on social media. You have to have like in-person connections and marketing and everything as well.
Social media definitely doesn't replace the real life interactions that you have. Like to feel truly connected, doesn't matter if you have millions of followers on Instagram who all love you. If you don't have those in-person connections where it actually makes you feel grounded, where you can just talk to a friend and not have anything filmed, those are very rewarding and fulfilling. But yeah, I've definitely heard of influencers where social media is their lives and everything is photographed and televised and videographed, and it's not pretty to take that to the fullest extent too.
Yeah, I definitely, influencers are an interesting breed of things. I don't understand it.
You go into Superstore and it's like, hey, look, lobster. Like, do you ever see those like Snapchat like influencers or everything? It's like
they
50 snaps.
Every single thing, every single minute of their life is like on the internet. And I don't understand that.
Wow.
You don't need to share every moment of your life with everyone.
Do people actually watch all the hundreds of snaps per day?
I don't know. I like posting to my story sometimes and like sharing funny things that happen to me, or just, like sharing my thoughts, but it's only for like, like a few, like some people that are like my close people. And like, I don't care if they watch it or not. I'm mainly just posting random things that I find funny. But I'm also like, I'm not making money off of it. That's just for my own personal enjoyment.
The money incentive, definitely.
But like for the influencers that, they're posting every little thing of their life for money, I don't understand it. I don't understand how that is a fulfilling career.
Yeah, probably not, I'm assuming.
I don't know.
So let's talk about the importance of hobbies and personal time.
Oh, so important.
So how have your hobbies like photography and dance shaped your personal growth and well-being?
They've really improved my well-being for sure. Just being able to have that outlet of self-expression, being able to just be in a creative place and just not worry about what other people are thinking or doing. That's what dance has been like most important. The biggest thing for me is I've always been super like dance has been my biggest thing of self-expression and has really helped me in my well-being. And like whenever I cannot express my emotions or like put into words how I'm feeling, dance is like the best way for me to do that through movement and using like music and stuff to tell that story and express myself. So whenever I've been super stressed, whenever I've been super down or sad or angry, the best way to like relieve those emotions is through dance and stuff. So that's been like my hobbies are my biggest way of self-expressing and just expressing my emotions and getting them out of me when I'm not like when I don't know how to, I'm able to get them out through my hobbies.
Yeah, definitely that creative outlet as well as moving your body is so cathartic. And I at work we have there's a private gym there, and just there's mirrors that face each other, and so you can see yourself just front and back as you're working out. And there's also a plug-in for the song, and just when I play a song and the quote, the dance like nobody's watching, is so like I didn't know what it truly meant up until I started moving my body. Like I'm no no dancer. I like it's embarrassing the dance moves that I pull alone.
That's okay though. Like it's the thing is like when you're moving your body, like whether it's dancing or even like exercising or working out, that is like it is releasing like stress from your body. Like I don't know like the proper words for it or the scientific terms, but it's like it is like a release for the body. Like it is like it does I don't know what like whatever like the happy hormones in your brain are, like they do get released dopamine, when you are dopamine oxytocin. And like oxytocin and stuff. Yeah. Like when you're moving and like exercising your body, those things get released. So like even if you're looking silly, acting a fool, just jumping around, shaking your arms, like it's still a release. You're still gonna feel better at the end of the day. Yeah.
I have felt the joy of working out, and in contrast, the feeling of dancing like nobody's watching, and they're different feelings. Like for dancing, it's so, you know, it's like more of a creative expression, and sure, maybe it's excreting different happy hormones. Like for dancing, it's just kind of builds your confidence a little bit. Kind of makes you like when you're angry or you're happy, kind of it shows on the moves. And I don't know, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, for sure. Because like whatever emotion, you can play a song that will relate to like any emotion. There's so much music out there. Like you can find a happy song, a sad song, a mad song. So if, you know, you're mad, you know, just play that song with like heavy metal or that rock, you know, like they're screaming at you, and then just jump around your room, shake your arm, shake your head, and the anger is released because just you feel angry, you let yourself get angry and just jump around, you know, headbang, whatever you want to do. But then it's a release of energy. And like it is a form of dancing. Headbanging is a form of dancing. People like don't think, but like honestly.
Do you headbang?
No, not really. I mean, if I'm really angry, if I really need to, I will.
It only works for people with long hair though.
Yeah.
Like you can't really do that.
You gotta have the hair. You gotta get the movement in there.
Have like some movements with the kind of that after movement after you move your head.
Yeah.
With the hair. Maybe a wig. Good.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think it's important for people to maintain personal hobbies outside of their professional life?
I think it's super important to have that like escape route, or not escape route, but just like an ability to escape from whatever you're doing. Like especially if you are working more of a 9-to-5 job, that like basic, you know, like 40 hours a week or whatever you're doing, it can be really nice to be able to go home and just do something relaxing that's, you know, dancing or painting a picture or, you know, just something that's creative, because then it lets your brain not think about anything else. You just stop thinking about the stresses you had at work, whatever stresses you still have to do, whatever responsibilities, those all just disappear when you're doing just like an activity of some sort that is more creative. I find everything else in your life disappears and you can just focus on that thing. So like having a hobby I find is super important because it's just a good escape measure to be able to escape from any stresses you're having in your life.
Yeah, it's great to just come home and you have painting or dancing and singing. It's just something where you can express yourself, and the people that don't have that are so, it's hard to put it out there in the world. Hey, and it's just, then you grapple with your emotions, and it's so much more difficult without these creative endeavors. That's why we should always continuously find something that's novel, and just, you find that when you do improve and you get better at one thing, there's all these things that you could work at, and passion like that's so important, and that's kind of, that's a big driving force for purpose and the happiness and fulfillment that people do feel. And for me, if I didn't have this podcast, then I'd probably find a different creative endeavor. But yeah, it's, how do you navigate what is fulfilling to you?
I find like trying to find fulfillment is, you can't just be searching for it. Like if you're actively searching for things to fulfill you and make you happy, you know, you're not really always going to find it. You kind of have to sit back and let it find you almost. Like you have to just let, opportunities come to you at some point. And you also just have to let, like happiness or calmness kind of approach you, because it will approach you in kind of some way. Like, let me try and think of an example. Like sometimes if you think, just like, I need to think now because I don't know where I was going with that.
The backwards law. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Like the less you try, the more things come to you. Like if I'm gonna try to be confident all the time, then it's gonna come off as needy. If I'm gonna try to tell everyone that I'm happy, probably actually just means I'm sad. And if I'm gonna try to be relaxed all the time, that just makes you anxious. And I think that's acceptance. Would that be?
Yeah.
That suffice kind of the idea?
Yeah, I think that's where I'm kind of going with that. Yeah, because what was the first? What was?
How do you find fulfillment?
Find fulfillment. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of, if you're searching for it, then like sometimes you don't know what you're searching for with fulfillment, because you don't fully understand what will fill you. You have to try different things sometimes as well. So just being open to like different opportunities, different things, because you don't know what will fulfill you. You could because like when I was like, there's some things with dance where there was some projects where I was a little unsure of, or like when I started teaching, I was a little unsure of teaching. I'm like, I don't know if I want to teach little 3-year-old kids. I don't know like how happy that's going to be. I don't know how rewarding that's going to make me feel. But I was still open to it because I was like, okay, like I can make money doing this. I'll do it. And then I started doing it and I was like, oh, this is actually quite fulfilling, being able to spend just half an hour with 3-year-old kids, teaching them how to, because like, if you think about like what I learned teaching like 3 to 5-year-olds, some of them barely even know, like they don't know how to properly jump sometimes, or like do a proper like step clap. It's like the most basic dance moves they don't know how to do yet, because, they're still learning their lefts and rights at that age. Yeah. So I found it very fulfilling being able to teach that young of an age. And I never thought it would be. I thought it would be very stressful having to teach that young of an age. But then when I started doing it, I was like, oh, this is actually so nice and very fun, being able to teach kids their rights and lefts and teaching them how to clap and just do a simple spin, like moves that I thought were so simple and like would take for granted and be like, oh, like this is the easiest thing in the world. And having to teach it to a 3-year-old, it's very fulfilling and interesting.
Yeah, maybe leaning on to the things that maybe you doubt or question that you'd find any interest in, and giving it a try, maybe being open-minded to it, and not just going, oh yeah, dancing, just dancing. I don't want to teach this. I don't want to try that out. But then you realize, but just trying that out and seeing what it's like, and you get to actually feel that, get a good grip on it. And what's it like teaching little kids 3 to 5?
It can be a little crazy at times, but super fun. Like,
how many of them?
I think the biggest class I had at a time was like around 10 of them.
Wow.
And then I did have like an assistant with me as well, thankfully. But I mean, they're just little bursts of energy, and they're so unfiltered. Like they'll just say whatever they want. Hey? Very, very honest. Yeah. And I honestly connected with that because I find I'm more of a blunt person. I'll just say what's on my mind and be straightforward. And so I
Yeah.
found myself almost relating to these kids quite easily and being like, okay, yeah, we can have fun like this. So it was very fun.
No, kids are the biggest kind of litmus tests for ugly people. No, like,
And you learn
like,
so much from
yeah,
kids
yeah.
too. But
From
also,
kids,
yeah,
it hurts the most because for even elementary, middle school kids, like they're more honest, but still, like maybe they're just trying to be mean. But like kids, like actual 3, 5-year-olds, when they say, "Hey, you look funny," like
they mean it.
yeah,
they
they mean it. Like they're not.
That is their honest,
Yeah,
unfiltered
yeah,
thoughts.
yeah,
Like, yeah, I've had some questionable, interesting things
yeah,
said to me. Like
yeah,
some of those kids are
yeah.
like, yeah, they'll just be like, "What is this? Like, why do you have little like pimples? Like, what are these bumps on
Yeah,
your
what
forehead?"
are
And be like,
these?
"This is acne.
Yeah,
You'll get it
that's
when you grow up.
yeah,
Just you
yeah.
wait."
I guess this isn't really an insult, but it had one. I had. You remember Matthew Meir?
Yeah.
He came on the pod like a month or two ago, and he had a mustache at the time. He was dressed as red, and my brother was just. It was the first time they met. And I'm like, hey Charles, he's 6, and this is my guest, and my brother's like, you look like Mario. Just like it wasn't. Mario's a pretty good looking guy. So I mean,
Like it
it's
wasn't
a
like the worst
compliment.
thing, but it was just, the first thought that
Yeah,
that comes to a child's head, like
no,
say, yeah, it's
exactly.
so
And I'm like,
interesting.
no, he was right. Kind of, I'll show you the picture after. He did look like
He
Mario.
does look
that
like
day.
Mario.
Yeah, yeah. No, he played along too, and it's like, yeah, hey, this is my. He even had the hat.
Oh god.
Or did he? No, he didn't have the hat. But now I'm just picturing Matthew as Mario now. Um, how do you balance your personal time between your hobbies and other responsibilities?
I mean, balancing time is something I'm very much still learning myself. I struggle with balancing my time so much. I find I'm, doing one thing and then I'm like, oh crap, I'm late, or I should have spent this time doing this because, I'll spend, hours just draining myself on TikTok or scrolling through social media. And then I was like, wait, I should have been spending time doing something else. So I think right now, the best way I say I balance my time is I at least try to dedicate at least 1 hour of every single day to personal time and taking care of myself, whether that's, taking a shower and just, taking care of myself in that way, or if I'm just, taking a nap, relaxing, spending some time doing some reflecting. But I try to dedicate at least 1 hour to myself, where it's like I'm not even talking to anyone. I'm not interacting with like anything or anyone. I'm not on my phone. I'm just, reflecting. I'm either meditating. I'm doing something for myself that is making me happy and taking care of myself and letting my brain just relax for at least an hour.
You
and
meditate?
then the rest of the time, I'm doing whatever else. Like I won't even like an hour, like no hobbies, no nothing. I'll just like sit in silence sometimes too if I want to. Like, but just an hour of just not letting my brain think about anything, not letting myself worry about anything, just me time for at least 1 hour.
Do you engage in a lot of mindfulness meditation work?
Sometimes I struggle with certain like meditations. Like I find like the typical meditation of, oh, close your eyes and like think of this. I can't really do those ones because I struggle with sitting still or things. I find the best meditation for myself is just like being conscious, like not conscious breathing, but just like intentional breathing, being aware of my breath and just like being aware of
meditation.
my inhale, holding it, and then exhaling it. And then just also like just reflection on like what I did that day, like things that maybe could have gone better, things I wish I did, and then maybe even like some goal setting. But I don't do a whole lot of meditation. I'm just kind of like just practicing like my own self-mindfulness and being aware of like my own breathing and like where I am in my life right now.
That is meditation, though. The way you describe that, that is exactly meditation.
Okay. Then yes, I meditate.
Like paying attention to your breath and looking at your thoughts from an objective view, kind of reflecting. Yeah, that is totally meditation.
Okay, then I meditate. Cool.
Yeah, I think I derive so much out of meditation, and it's just, it like brings you in, hey, because we're so hyper fixated on the future or what happened to us what did this coworker say to me? Oh, that thing that friend said, like
Yeah.
that
Or
was
like I
just
start like replaying conversations in my head and being like,
yeah.
oh, I could have said this, or I could have
Hmm.
done this, or what if this
Hmm.
happened? And like I'll just replay so many like thoughts and events that happen throughout the day. So I just, yeah, try to like shut that out for at least a little bit and just be like, it was a good day. We had a good day. We don't have to
Yeah.
overthink about every little thing that happened
Hmm.
during the day.
Kind of that positive reinforcement too, hey, that it's just okay, you focus on the gratitude, and it's a skill. Like you don't, because I believe naturally the human brain just gravitates to the negativity and to the, oh, I need more, and I'm gonna keep going and I won't stop. And what happened today, even though there was good, it wasn't enough because it was a normal day. Like what was okay, I had a meal, I had a roof over my head, I had loved ones surrounding me, and sure I went to an event, but what's new? I need to do more. I need to get a better, faster car, a better house, more status, more prestige. But then once you're there,
You're
it's gonna
still
it's
looking for
gonna be the
more.
same thing. And it's just
Yeah.
going back in and looking inside and going, how am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? What can I do? Who matters to me? What am I thankful for? And all these questions, they arise like, oh, I'm thankful for the water that I drank, because not everybody gets water. I'm thankful for being alive, and I'm thankful for being conscious, and the fact that I'm thinking of my thinking and being aware of my surroundings. It's just so liberating. And but then it dissipates though, because then you're back to reality. And then the sorry about that. The moments the where you do engage in these thoughts, they're crucial to a life worth living. And I think if I didn't have that kind of relaxation and path to the parasympathetic nervous system where I can focus on my breath, life would be just atrocious.
Yeah, well, and I think like going back to what you said is like
Yeah.
we always forget to think about the good things in our lives because we're always focusing on what's next, what's good, and we forget to enjoy those little things. So like I have like that's like a big quote that I always try to keep in my head is remember to enjoy the little things because we often are just looking at such the big picture moments that we forget that it is good to have clean oxygen. It is a privilege to have, clean drinking water. It's a privilege to, everything that we have in our lives. And like in Canada, like everything that we have, like a lot of it is privilege and positive and good. And we don't think about it because it's all we've ever known. Or like
Mhm.
lots of people like myself, it's like I've always had a house to live in. I've never had to worry about, like not having water or heat or anything. So you don't think of those as positive things in your life, but they are positive things. We forget those little, just like the little everyday things in our lives that are good and positive because we're so much looking on the bigger picture and the big things, and we only think of, oh, like I'm only going to be happy if I get this new big deal. I'm only going to be happy if I'm, getting married. I'm only going to be happy if when I have my family. I'm only going to be happy if I have my house. Like if we're only looking at those big picture things and those big moments for happiness, you're not going to really live a happy, fulfilled life. And that's something I very much learned because I used to be a big picture looker and being like, oh, I have nothing good in my life. Nothing's good because I haven't done anything. Nothing has been achieved. None of my goals are achieved. They're all just goals and dreams right now. What's good about my life? But then you take a step back and breathe and be like, right, I have friends. I have some friends. I have food in my house. I have clean air. I have all these things. I do have a good, happy life.
Yeah. I gotta read you this quote by Morgan Housel. And he's this guy that he's really focused on the past and the history. And he really he has an amazing insights onto like the billionaires and kind of how comparison and how the human nature works. And it's all very simple, but it's just being able to internalize some of his lessons. And as you said, right, one of his kind of the lessons that he's kind of reinforced in my head is it's never going to be enough, and kind of the not being in the moments and just going, oh, I'll be happy once this happens, I'll be happy when that happens, just takes us away from what we do have. And he goes to say that the best measure of wealth is what you have minus what you want. By this measure, some billionaires are broke. And there are people with tons amount of money, and it seems like I'm really, really curious onto how high achievers' minds work. And so that I listen to a lot of podcasts on billionaires, on well-accomplished professors, on people that seem to have done it all, endurance athletes that have won gold medals, athletes in the, insert kind of prestigious team. And what I find is they're nothing different. Like, we pedestalize these rappers, these influencers.
Like we put them on a pedestal, but they're just a human, just like us, and they have the same experiences and like the same like goods and bads, and like everything is. We don't need to put them on a pedestal and be like, they have all this good things because they've achieved all this.
They're just people, and they feel the same kind of relentless discontent, and they experience all these array of emotions of resentment, excitement, despair, grief.
Yeah, like you see so many of them, like, like I can name like various artists that you can just think of that, like, you can tell that, that they've gone through, a creative dry spell, or like they've taken a step back from like their music or like their artistry, because you could tell that they were either just not fulfilled or, they just were doing too much, but then they slowly start coming back. Like, so like to like see that and know that, like, I remember when, cause like I'm a big fan of Kendrick Lamar, and like when he released that album for like the first time, like a couple years ago, that I can't remember what the album's called, but the one from like a year or two.
Mad City?
No. His like most recent one.
I think I've listened to that.
With like Mother I Cry and like We Cry Together and like,
I have it in mind.
Or Mother I Sober, like all those songs. And like the one song where like he, like his one line is like, I've had writer's block for like 2 years or whatever, like however many days.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like, it's like, it puts it in perspective, like successful artists like that have struggles just like us.
Yeah. We go, just because they
like
have all the money,
on hiatuses,
they're famous.
Like, or like you remember, like I think of like, like I also like think of like Rihanna. Like I don't know like too much about these artists, and I can't assume that they like are either going through the creative dry spell or anything. But it's like, like Rihanna, she hasn't created a lot of new songs, but it's like, and she's coming back to it now, but like she was doing other creative jobs and things. So you can only assume, or like for me, like I kind of assume like, oh, she wasn't feeling maybe as fulfilled with the music, so she started doing other creative endeavors like fashion, and then she also started a family. But then, so it's like you see these successful artists and like celebrities, they even start doing like various creative things too. So like you see that, and it's like, okay, you don't have to stick to just one path, one journey. You can start with one creative project and it can bloom to more things, or you can do other things to still be fulfilled.
The way I see it is, I don't think life is traveling a certain path. I think it's traveling, but also planting seeds along the way, and you can go back the path, and that tree may open up more paths. And certainly,
never thought of it like that.
Yeah, certainly these people, these ultra successful high achievers that seem to be loved and adored by everyone, they have their downtimes. Like, look at Eminem. Like, he went through a drug addiction, and I think he's been canceled like over 100 times.
Yeah, so many of them. Like, they have all like these things they go through. Yeah, like even like Kendrick. Like, so many of them have been canceled, or like they go through like their own problems.
Keep track with the Drake and Kendrick drama?
Oh gosh,
they released some bangers, eh?
It created some bangers. Yes, they're like the drama and stuff.
I listened to Not Like Us
Oh, that song was
so
on
many
repeat
times.
for so long when that came
before
out.
you came here, I was just listening to it.
They not like us. They not like us.
The A minor line is just
A
like,
minor.
whoa, like that one was so good. I don't think Drake's ruined after that one. And then you even see I'm not much of an Oilers fan, but I did dabble here and there because a lot of people seem to like the Oilers, and I kind of bandwagon.
Well, we live in Edmonton, just kind of have to be Oilers fans sometimes.
But yeah, no, Drake put in like a middle on the bet, and then everyone in the comments were like, "Oh no, like we're about to lose because it's Drake," and it seems like everyone just turned on Drake after Kendrick was finished with them.
That was so crazy. It was crazy to see that. I never really paid attention to it. I just like would hear the soundtracks.
Neither did
I just remember hearing like They Not Like Us everywhere and being like, wait, what just happened? They're beefing since when again?
Yeah.
And so like I don't really pay attention to most of it.
I don't either, but you just hear the songs.
You hear random things and you hear the songs and you're just like, oh, what did he just say?
Yeah, I wonder if that's like I'm picturing Drake listening to Kendrick's song going like, I wonder if he's actually hurt. Well, probably like, really hurt.
There was a video where Drake was performing at a concert and like he was literally singing They Not Like Us. Like he was singing it and like playing it at his concert, and Drake was singing his like the own Kendrick song They Not Like Us, and I'm just like, wait, wow. How do you like? I think
it's his way of trying
to like own the song and like take its power. I don't know if that takes its power. But, I think that just makes you. How do you feel about singing a line that's talking about how A minor and you're singing it? It was
how much of a pedo you are. Yeah. Oh gosh, that's funny. But yeah, no. Going back to creative dry spells. What strategies do you use to overcome creative dry spells when they arise?
I find when I start getting like a creative dry spell, so like first off, like creative dry spells can happen like at any time and can happen to anyone, and it's almost just kind of like it's almost like another word for it could be like writer's block or just like kind burnout? Of like a block where you just.
What about burnout?
Yeah, like even like. Burnout's like a little bit different, I find, because
you're exhausted with burnout.
I was like, burnout's almost like a full body thing, and it's like not necessarily because of creative process, but like with a creative dry spell, I find it happens in two different ways. One, you're either like you're starting a new project, you're working on something, and you have so many ideas, you're in that planning stage. And there's so many paths it could take. You have like there's so many ideas. You just you almost don't know where to start at that point because there's so many ideas of which it could go. You don't know what to do with yourself at that point, where there's just so much creativity in your brain and like so many thoughts that you don't know the clear path. Or the other times of dry spells is when you are like, if you're working in a creative field or like you are in a place where you're in like a demand or in like forced or obligated to be pumping out creative content like consistently and like constantly, where you're doing so much content, you're creating so much that it either you start to get lazy in it, or you start repeating that work and it just becomes less fulfilling because you're doing so much you can't think of new ideas. And so when those times happen, I find the best way is just kind of taking a step back and like taking a break from the project or whatever you're doing, taking a pause and just like walking away from it. If it's like if you have like a specific space that you're doing like your creative work in, like leave that space, stop doing it, like just put it all away and like go for a walk, go for a drive, just like spend time away from the project, just doing something else that makes you happy. I find a big thing I like doing is listening to music, especially listening to new music. So I'll go into like Apple Music and hit like browse, and I'll like look at new songs, new artists. I'll even just go for like genres that I don't necessarily like, or like genres I don't necessarily listen to a lot. And I just start listening to new music and just like anything. And I just kind of listen to it, let my brain just kind of escape from the creative things and just kind of enjoy time. Also, like if I can go out in nature, just go for a walk, sit in the sun or something. But I just try to take a step back from whatever the creative project is, spend some time away from it, whether it's just like 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day, however much time you really need, And then once you feel like you're not as overwhelmed by it, and you feel like you're in a better space to start working on the creative project again, where you're not overwhelmed by all the ideas, I find once you start back on the project, going through the intention and the why. Okay, remember, why am I doing this project? Who is it for? What's it for? What is the purpose? And then going through that purpose, then it should become like more clear as to how you want to proceed and like move on. But yeah, I find like the biggest help for me whenever I find I'm in a creative dry spell is just taking a little break.
Yeah, I need to take that and internalize that, because past 2-3 months I've probably had burnouts and creative dry spells,
Yeah.
I don't know if like podcasting you could really have a creative dry spell, because every single guest is different and they kind of just make it all novel every single time.
But I think like it can almost though, because you want to think in that one where I was saying that like if you're working in a creative field or doing something where it's a consistent job where you're constantly having to pump out a new thing, you can also just start going through the motions, and your brain starts to autopilot where it's like, okay, yes, I need a new guest. Okay, message this person. Okay, what are you gonna do? Like you start to go in autopilot of like, okay, I need a guest. Okay, I got to do this, and you just kind of start going through it rather than being like, okay, how am I gonna engage with this guest? How are we really gonna like? So I think like almost anything you can start going through the emotions and like autopilot and almost like, and sometimes you don't realize you're starting a dry spell or like going through a dry spell, because you are just going through the emotions and you think, oh yeah, I'm still keeping up. I'm still producing new things. I'm still, I'm teaching a new combo every single week. Like, yeah, I'm still being creative, but is it fulfilling? Am I just,
You're right.
Especially like at a point last year I was teaching at 3 different dance studios, and I was teaching 5 different dance classes a week. So I had to create 5 different competitive dance sets. So and each dance set is like 3 minutes. So that's 15 minutes of content that I had to create that was all unique from itself. And as you start going through it, like I started to realize, oh, some of my dances are kind of blending a bit, because I'd start to use like the same moves because I was just kind of getting used to it and like going through the motions. I wasn't focusing on, okay, what's going to be the best for this class, for this thing. I was just, oh, I got to get it done. I just got to teach them this week. I just got to get it done. So like, that's a big thing of like realizing that you are in a dry spell, or, oh, I am starting to autopilot my work. Take a step back. How can I improve my creativity? How can I make sure I am fulfilling myself and not being an autopilot?
Because the engagement level is crucial.
Yeah. And like it can be hard to notice too, because you'll just be going through things. And then, yes, I honestly find like the best thing to do is continuously be reflecting on yourself and reflecting on what you're doing. Like anytime I do like a new photo shoot, or after I've like taught a dance class, I like to reflect on it and be like, okay, what went well about this? What was good about this? And then what can I improve on? What can be better? And then just always being mindful of that and knowing what was good and what can be better. And then you'll know how to like improve on. But just like doing a shoot or doing like a project or whatever, and then immediately going, okay, next, and not thinking about how that project went, I find is a big thing to start that will like automatically jumpstart an autopilot life, is if you're not reflecting on what you have done and what you have created. If you're not reflecting on it and taking time to be like, okay, why did I just do this? What made me feel good about this project? You're just going to start going through all the emotions of life.
Yeah. The constant self-reflection is crucial to be able to do the work. And once that work is done, view it in a way where, okay, how can I improve? And what can I do with this? And what does this mean to my life? What is my purpose? And when you forget that inner dialogue of what it actually means to live, then you just end up becoming like a robot. And I see that with a lot of people that just do the 9 to 5 and yeah, it's very soul crushing, and definitely you don't want your business or just creative endeavor to turn out like that. And definitely that's a good idea for the dry spells, to be able to get some time to reflect and
Yeah.
rewind and give yourself some time to be able to ask these crucial questions that really determine the trajectory of the endeavor.
Yeah.
And
Just, yeah, not being afraid to ask yourself those scary questions in yourself. Because if you don't ask those questions, you're never going to learn.
Can you share a time when you struggled creatively and how you navigated through the period?
Yeah. So, like back when COVID hit, back in like 2020, 2021, when we were forced into isolation and everything was shut down, I really lost creativity and lost like drive into doing anything creative, because I had lost my community as well, because we couldn't go into the dance studio and dance together. It was all like online. Trying to do a dance class online is the saddest thing in the world, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, because a dance class is like the best part about a dance class and learning a dance, and like, yeah, taking a class is being with your friends and connecting with those people. And like, yeah, like dance is so much of a culture of community and being around other people and socializing with them and sharing your love for dance with each other. So when we had to do it online and we were all stuck in our own rooms dancing, it was very draining. And like, because before then I'd freestyle a lot, but like I'd freestyle outside or I'd freestyle at the dance studio or wherever, but I was never really dancing in my room. My room wasn't really a dancing space. I never thought of my room as like a creative space. It was mainly just my sleeping space. But then when COVID hit, it kind of had to turn into my creative space as well. And so just learning how to be okay with isolation and like learning how to be creative while alone was a big thing I had to learn, I think, because I found a lot of my friends and people around me is what influenced my creativity and my confidence in dance. And I realized that I was creating dances and I was wanting to dance because of my friends and like the family that I created in dance. And so I found when I was home alone in COVID and not being able to be with my friends, I didn't want to dance. I didn't want to be creative because it was like, well, what's the point? I'm just all alone. I have no one to share it with. So then it really had to be so I ended up actually quitting like pretty much all my dance classes because I was like, I hate doing this online. Like I can't do this. I can't connect with you guys. This does not feel right. I can't do this. And like, so there was like a full month where I did not dance at all. And it was like the lowest of lows that I ever hit because I lost my way of expression because dance was my self-expression.
It's like getting your leg chopped off almost.
Yeah.
Hey?
Like I was just like, I felt so lost when like I had like nothing to do. I was literally just laying in bed, sleeping all day, being on my phone. Like it was so bad. It was such a rough time that I had to start reflecting. Like I realized I was like, some of like my dance teachers, they were reaching out to me and they're like we're worried about you. Like you loved dance. Like dance was your entire life. How was it suddenly like you're not meant to quit? Like so many people in my life were like you can't quit. You shouldn't be quitting. Like, and they like realized that like it was just like something like mentally going on. And so the best thing for me to work through it was I just started playing music and I just started jumping around my room, acting a fool, honestly, like not even dancing. Like I'd just be like jumping around, listening to music and just moving my body and just slowly learning how to love dance again is what it was.
It's kind of like a grief process too, hey, where I've been in the same kind of scenario when it came to even like the gym, like when I didn't have that connection, when I didn't have that expression to be able to go at it and to move your body in a way where it's just so familiar and it's just purposeful. Kind of go through this grieving process where it's just like denial or anger, and it's just like what was life
sure
like?
Who you are as well,
Yeah,
because like
yeah.
I have been dancing since I was like 3 years old. So like 20 years of my life, I've been doing it. So, and then, so like at 20 years old, because that was, yeah, like 4 years ago. So at 20 years old, and I was like, I've been doing this my entire life and I'm just suddenly wanting to quit. Like I felt so lost, and like I didn't feel complete when I wasn't dancing either. I was like, when I wasn't dancing, I felt like there was a part of me missing. And there was like, something about my life is not right. I'm missing something. And I was like, oh, it's this outlet of dance and expression. So when I started dancing again and I was able to just do it for myself, I was able to feel really fulfilled by it and start falling in love with it again, because I was just doing it for myself at that point. So, and then that really helped me get back into the creativity of it and passion of dance, is because I just learned why I loved moving and remembered why I loved doing this. And it was because it allowed me to just express whatever I was feeling. And especially during those like COVID times, like I went through, there was like a lot of personal things that happened in my life as well during those years and like those months. So just being able to have that outlet back, where if I was like really, really sad and like going through those like really awful times, I was able to just dance it out and then like just relieve those emotions. And I was able to get back into that creativity of it and passion.
Well, I'm really happy to hear that you have discovered dance again, and just realizing that, oh, this form of expression is so much more than just moving the body, right? This is life. Like, this is what it's all about. And finding that and being at a very low point where that was taken away from you because of COVID, and then you realize that, oh, like there's something missing. And then once you go back into it, it's a whole new other discovery, and it's just like a whole new chapter
like
that gets opened up.
It was a new fire that had like been created in me, and then I was able to because I hadn't been teaching dance yet at that point. I was still just a student myself. So when I was refining that creativity and refining that passion, then I started getting opportunities as well to start teaching dance. And then I found that as a new form of like fulfillment and being able to teach kids and everything as well. And that was a new form.
That's awesome. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you believe stepping away from your work during a creative block is more beneficial, or do you push through it? Why?
I find taking a step back is more beneficial, at least for me, because I find if I'm trying to push through it and like I keep trying to just like ignore any like thoughts and just keep pushing towards the creativity, I find I'm either just not going to do as well in the project. I'm going to rush it. It's going to be like half-assed a bit. Like I'm just going to get it done to get it done. And I'm just going to end up like I'll go through the motions and I'll just autopilot the project. If I'm not, if I find myself having to push through it, I'm not as satisfied doing it. Yeah, I find myself like if I have to push through it, it's just more likely to cause burnout and stress and like dissatisfaction in my work. And I would rather just take a step back, stop doing it, than create something that I'm going to end up not being proud of.
In the self-development world, there's this idea of just gritting your teeth and just getting through it, no matter how tough it is how you grow. And some would argue that sure, you could do that, but it's unsustainable. Like you could do that for a full year up until you hit burnout, and then or your muscles give out and your body gives out, because there are easier ways to be able to cope with that endeavor, right? Where, okay, maybe looking within and go, why do I feel so heavy at this time? Is it the lack of sleep? Is it just that relationship that wasn't fixed, that fight that broke loose? Maybe I need to work on that. Then I go back to charging through and gritting my teeth and David Gogginsing all of it. Like, do you know David Goggins? Kind of like, he's like a Navy SEAL, is kind of big guy on just keep going no matter what.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of that mentality of just clench everything and you will get through it. And I think for most people, you need to be able to get that grace and live and be in the moment while you are trying to access that next part of your life and while you're trying to write your next chapter. It depends what works for you. Because I think there are a lot of people out there too where, okay, that method works for them. Where, okay, just going away and just putting your head down and going through it no matter what. Sure, maybe that works for you, but maybe the method of taking a step back, analyzing, okay, what does that feeling of resentment mean? Like, what does this creative dry spell mean? Is this because I haven't been getting much sleep? Have I been eating? Is it the water? Is it the temperature? Maybe I need to fix the pillow. I need to reach out to a friend. Maybe I need to go to that event. There's all these things.
So many things that can reflect. And so it definitely, it depends on the person. Yeah. Cause some people can, I mean, I do think, like in my mind, in my opinion, it is kind of more of that, like millennial kind of like baby boomer, kind of idea to just, keep your head down and keep just moving forward and stuff. I feel like that is more of like that kind of thing. And like now, these younger generations, we are more like, it's okay to take a step back. It is okay to take a break. You don't have to constantly push through. And because if you are just constantly pushing through, you're not taking a step back to think about anything, you could, you don't realize, oh, maybe I do need more sleep, or maybe I got to try this or something else. Like taking those steps back and just pausing and thinking about what you're doing in your life can be so beneficial because, because like you think you know what you want in your life and you think you are like prepared for everything, but life can change in like a second, in a snap of anything, in a blink of an eye. Things can change and you can become so lost. Like you can think, okay, I am going to get my degree in this, and then I'm going to go work here, and then I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to start my family at this time, and I'm going to get married at this age. And like you can have everything planned out and like go through the motions, but then if you are like a person that has like everything planned out and then one little thing goes wrong, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to survive? If you're a person, like I find if you plan too many things and if you are like, have too many like forward ideas of this is exactly what needs to happen in my life, you're more likely to get like unsatisfied or be unsatisfied because you had such big goals and you were like, if I don't achieve these goals, I won't be happy. So it's just being open to whatever life happens to you and just not rushing life. I found is a big thing I've learned is not, I found that I was very much rushing life or trying to rush life and force things to go by faster. And I wasn't taking time to enjoy and appreciate my life. So I find that reminding yourself to take a step back and take breaks is such an important thing because it can help you just reflect on your life and where you're going and where you're headed because it changes so often. You think you want one thing in your life and then a couple months later you realize, wait, why am I doing this? This makes no sense. Yeah, you get those revelations and go, I don't actually like this, or this is not the life for me. I'm going to change direction. Yeah. And there's all these, and if you don't ask those questions, you're just like this person that's just going with the flow. And if you don't put in any cognitive input, then life will dictate what's right for you. Yeah. Rather than you dictating your life. Yeah. Society will dictate what is best for you and then, what's going to happen to you. And then 20 years later, you look back and go, I never really asked myself what I wanted. Or I wanted to be a painter. When you're 50 or like 60 and be like, I'm not that satisfied with my life, or I wish I'd done this or this. True. And like, that's a big fear of mine. Like, I really don't want to look back in my life in like 30, 40 years and being like, man, I did nothing. I wasted my life. Yeah. So I spend so much, like sometimes I'll probably overthink things, but too. I do try to, like, I just try to be as mindful and active as possible in my life and just like live every day as mindfully and like as fulfilling as I can. I know not every day is going to be a great day. Some days are going to be rough and slow and, daunting. It happens, but just being accepting of those and being like, okay, I'm okay with bad days and I'm okay with good days. I'm ready for life and I'm okay with life and like, I'm okay with whatever it happens and I'm ready for it. Yeah. Oh, he's a little orange cat. So that's even more chaotic. Cats are very
high maintenance. I think pets
But they're
are
fun though.
pets are one of those. They're like kids, but they don't grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like they kind of grow up, but like they're always such a little kid.
yeah. But then once they
times.
get older, though, they just revert back to
Being
being
a
like a
child.
puppy or a kitty. So self-help importance, taking time for yourself to heal. How has prioritizing self-care impacted your creativity and overall well-being?
It's definitely impacted it a lot. I've mainly just been kind of on a self-healing journey, really just since July. I've just kind of started my self-healing journey where I realized, oh, there's a lot of things that I should, reflect on from my childhood and past that I never reflected on. And I should take time to reflect and properly understand why these events happened and why it happened the way it does and learn how to move forward from them. Because, yeah, there was a lot of, I've like recently realized that there's a lot of things as to why I am the way I am and the relationships I have because of so many things that happened when I was younger and different things. And so I'm just learning kind of how to like heal and process from those. And it's been interesting and a little scary because you're like, wait a minute, how do I navigate this? Like, and it can be nerve-wracking, especially when you're doing it alone, because like I'm not a person that likes to really talk and reach out to people. I like to figure out things on my own. I like to get through things on my own. So it can be challenging to, kind of be taking care and helping yourself get through certain things. But having a solid support system is good. Like I do have, like my roommate is very understanding and caring, and I do have some close friends that are very helpful. And then, yeah, having those creative outlets also to be able to express and escape from those stresses and reminders of what happened in like the past and everything, being able to just escape and be like, okay, I just reflected on all these things, all this chaos that happened or all this hell that happened. Now I'm going to go dance and feel good about myself and be confident and be happy again. So like my hobbies and my passions have been super, super beneficial in helping myself heal because it's a way to bring back that positive energy and be happy again because like remembering and reflecting on stories and events that were like a bit traumatic or scary in your life, it can be very draining and it can be very depressing to like have to relive and remember those things. So having, like dance or some sort of creative outlet where you can immediately just express yourself and just relieve all that emotion and hardship is really good.
Yeah. So you tackle all these memories of the past and you went through whether it be little T traumas or big T traumas, and then you reflect on it further and it's a bit draining, okay? And
Yeah.
you realize more about yourself. But then to kind of keep going forward, you
Yeah.
need to be able to
And then like, yeah, you're
dance
using that stuff to kind of help empower yourself more because as you relearn and reevaluate why you are the way you are or like why those things and like relearning how to understand why exactly those events happen to you can be empowering and like you learn to become more confident
you can
in
integrate
yourself.
it to your dance.
Yeah.
You can, and then you can empower yourself with those self introspection and kind of the new ways that you've been able to understand yourself. And for me, I think I'd mentioned this before we started recording, but yeah, just this is a new thought that I had where for the longest time, elementary, middle school, high school, even last year, anytime I'd talk to someone intelligent or just well spoken or just incredible in some way where they were prestigious, I would feel this kind of inferior complex, and I would second guess the things that would come out of my mouth, especially when it was about ideas and knowledge and about real life stuff where it was applicable and it was of value instead of just like bullshitting. And I had this voice in the back of my head where it was telling me that I wasn't good enough, I wasn't credible, that I wasn't worth listening to. And I kept reflecting, and it all stemmed back to this girl in grade 6, and she was a newcomer. And actually, you know her, so I don't want to name drop though, but she was a newcomer at the St. T's, the elementary that I went to.
St. T's.
And she made
St. T's together. I always forget that I've known you since grade 7 and not grade
the old
9.
St. T's. I was referring to the old St.
Right.
T's. Yeah.
Right. You went. Oh, so then I did meet you in grade 9.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
We met grade 7.
Because you went to the new St. T's, the 5 to 8, right? For 7 and 8.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But we all started kind of that grade 7.
Grade 7.
Yeah. No, but
got distracted.
But
anyway.
Yeah, this girl just made fun of my accent, and I don't think she did it intentionally, but she kept going like, "Oh, I can't understand you. You have an accent. Can you enunciate your words properly?" And she kept saying that to me multiple times, like throughout the year. And then now it just developed this like stuttering. I don't even really stutter. I just question myself, and my self-worth went really low for some reason, because I just took her words enormously into myself, and I buried it, and I didn't even really know that was a thing. And yeah, now like 15 years later, I've made the discovery that it stemmed from there. And I think I'm thankful for it though, because now I'm a better speaker, and I've know more vocab, and I've forced myself to read books to better my English and to better myself. And had that not happened, I don't think I'd be who I am today. And if anything, I probably wouldn't have a podcast, because I wouldn't have wanted to face my fears of putting my thoughts and ideas and speech patterns out there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, like they can definitely shape you like to who you are, and help you either like always the hope and goal is that, these events that happen to you, especially if they're, like awful ones and bad ones, is that, you're able to make something positive out of it and be able to learn something to move forward from it. And like, that's something I'm still learning from some of mine, is that, cause like for me, like, so I have celiac disease, and I wasn't diagnosed with celiac until I was about 9, 10. So I have an intolerance to wheat and gluten. And I didn't know that.
Through like an entire grief
and
process.
I didn't
with
know
the food,
about that until I was like 9, 10 years old. So I spent the first 9 years of my life almost in constant pain, because I was always eating food that I wasn't supposed to eat.
And you didn't know.
And no one knows.
Yeah, you just didn't. You just felt, this feels rough.
So you always, and like, I didn't realize that wasn't normal. Because so many things, I was like, I just spent, the first 9 years of my life not knowing what I can properly eat and not eat. Other people have gone through that, right? Or, not everyone goes through pain and like problems. But then I was like, no. The fact that it took 9 years to diagnose it because doctors were just ignorant or just not caring. And like, so yeah, like my like relationship and how I view doctors and wanting to go to doctors completely changed. And just like so many relationships from like my childhood and like such those young ages, and even just understanding myself, because when I grew up always in pain, and then so many people telling me, no, you're fine, you don't feel sick, like it's just fine, it's just a little bit of cramping, it's just a little sore stomach, oh, it's probably just some anxiety. And just like having everything written off and being told you're fine, you start to believe that you're fine and being like, oh wait, I'm not in pain. If everyone says I'm fine, then I should be fine.
Like this is normal.
Yeah,
feeling like this is normal.
Like, oh, like feeling like this is supposed to be normal. And that's why I didn't realize that, that actually was pretty traumatic to go through, because I thought living in pain was normal. I did not realize that, having constant stomach aches and headaches and like having no energy, I didn't know that wasn't a normal thing, because everyone in my life just told me that was normal, because no one could figure out why. And the doctors would just kind of like slide past it and just not really acknowledge too much. And so like now having to like, let's see, 10, 13 years later now, I have to now and like am starting to like learn, okay, how do I actually understand my own like physical pain? Because sometimes I will question if I actually am in pain or hurting, if my body is sick or something, or if it's actually fine. Because like sometimes I'll like feel pains in my body and I don't know if it's actually normal or not, because I spent so much of my life being told that pain was normal that I don't fully understand it. Or that or like sometimes I just like I'll hate going to doctors now and things, because doctors just, they'll like gaslight me or just be like, oh yeah, like you're fine, or like they just brush past things. And it's crazy to think of that and now have to reflect and be like, that wasn't normal, that wasn't a great thing to experience, but we're going to move through it and we can learn how to have a proper relationship with food and eating properly. And then also just learning and understanding like, okay, it wasn't a lot of people's fault, because again, celiac disease in 2009, 2010, way different and way less knowledge and research on it than what we have now. So like it wasn't a popular thing to be diagnosed with, and there wasn't a lot of food options and it wasn't well known. So I have to be like, okay, I know I spent so much of my time in pain and this is why this happened. And doctors like brushed over my symptoms and pains because they didn't know this was a thing. It wasn't a well-known thing. And I have to just understand that that's what happened, and like kind of learn to be okay with that and like move forward from it and be like, okay, that happened to you because it was a rare disease at the time. Not a lot of people knew about it. It wasn't a common thing. So that's why it was so difficult to figure out. It wasn't because people intentionally wanted you to feel sick or feel bad. Like, it's not that people didn't care about me or like didn't believe that I was sick. It was just people didn't know. So like just understanding that and like being okay with it and moving forward is a crazy thing.
That sounds traumatic. I'm sorry to hear that you went through that.
Yeah. And just, I'm still kind of like processing it, because it was like literally just a couple weeks ago that I was like, oh yeah, the first 9 years of my life were kind of traumatic, and like I don't have a lot of memories because I was just always in pain.
Yeah, when
and
you're
all
a
I
kid,
remember is pain. And like, so just kind of being able to be okay with that and content with, okay, yes, I did spend all this time in pain, but it's not my parents' fault. They didn't know better. They didn't know that celiac existed. No one in my family, like no one in like my extended family, no one had ever had this kind of pain in their life. No one had ever had stomach issues. So like genuinely no one in the family knew what to do with it. So like just understanding and knowing, okay, for the times and years that it was, we genuinely didn't know what kind of thing this was. So no one really knew how to take care of me. And like, so we didn't know how to manage it. And that's not necessarily anyone's fault. And it's like not my own fault. And it's not like anyone in my life's fault. It's just something that happened, and just learning how to move forward and cope with it. And then just like keep those relationships healthy and just move forward from it.
Yeah, that's great that you've derived some value, even though you went through such a agonizing childhood of just what would be the formative years of a child's development, so that they can take memories and just having no responsibility. You had immense pain daily, hey, and all the foods that you ate were inflicting this immense pain on your body, and that's terrible. But then you look at that past and you find that, oh, like maybe that thing that I felt, maybe it wasn't because people were forcing me to be in pain. It wasn't their fault that I felt that way. And as a kid, you kind of process that as, oh, like you had mentioned that, oh, this is just the way things go. and then the doctors tell you it's fine, and you kind of have that mistrust, and you have to kind of really put in a lot of work, and it's going to take years.
Yeah.
It doesn't just take one day of
I was like,
reflecting, that makes sense. It's the constant self loop of, why did that happen? Why did this happen? And like, you ask friends and family, and you search up, you read books on it, or you listen to podcasts, or maybe a song of your favorite artists, and it reminds you of that moment, and you go, how can I find answers? And it's all the work. You need to put in the work, and that's where, therapy comes in, and all these kind of self-help modalities that can help you reach a conclusion that makes sense to you. Because if you keep going with life and you just ignore kind of all the things that have happened, it eventually builds up and it comes out in ugly ways, whether it be resentment, whether it be
that's what I
anger.
realized. And that's why, like, these last couple months I was like, okay, I got to start reflecting on what happened in my life, because a lot of like my relationships, I was not being fulfilled in my relationships. Like I was with someone and I was just like, I'm with them for convenience. Like I'm like, is this a happy relationship? No, I'm just here for convenience sake. And like, that's not healthy and things. And I realized so many of like my relationships, whether it be like friendship or romantic, that like there wasn't always the right intentions behind them. And so I've been really like reflecting and being like, okay, why was this person in my life? Was it a beneficial relationship? And it's just learning and like just being okay and understanding that it's okay to not understand yourself and it's okay to make mistakes, I think is a big thing. And yeah, just being okay with not knowing who you are yet, even in your 20s, it can be scary, because I feel like you think like you got to know yourself and know what you want to do and everything, but you don't. Like life is forever changing and you're forever growing. You can always be learning and just reflecting on yourself. And I think that's super important, to always be learning and reflecting. And so, yeah, just being able to like relive from my past and be like, okay, how can I move forward from this? How can I be better from this? How can I not make the same mistakes again, is like a big thing for me, because yeah, like I found a lot of relationships were not very fulfilling, and I was only being friends with someone because they needed something from me or I needed something from them. Or like with friendships, like with dance, like we would only be friends with each other to like benefit from like each other's like dancing and teaching or whatever. And then yeah, like other friendships and like relationships, I found it was mainly just based off convenience, and it wasn't really something that I wanted or needed in my life. It was just, well, this feels right. I was like, I guess I can do this because it's convenient for me. And yeah, just being able to be more understanding and just reflecting on what happened in my past, and then moving forward and realizing, okay, this is why I am the way I am, and I'm okay with that.
That's great. That's awesome. To have an exceptional love life, you need to have a love for life. You need to be able to cultivate that understanding and that love for yourself before you can let people in. You need to make sure there's room in the house, right? If everything's all cluttered up and you got the broken glasses and you got dirt everywhere, when you let people in, it's going to be a catastrophe. They got nowhere to sit. They got nowhere
they have nowhere to go. And then they're just going to end up making it messier.
Yeah. And then they're going to get angry at you, and then you're going to get angry at them, and you're going to blame them. And that's just going to cause more mayhem.
Yeah, exactly. It can lead to unhealthy relationships when you're unaware of why you're like being in a relationship. And I found like sometimes like when I would start like or interested in like a romantic thing, like I would find sometimes it was mainly just out of convenience and like not something that I really wanted. I was like, this person is pursuing me. It makes me feel good. Why not? Not, this person I actually find interesting.
Like
I
what
actually want to
values?
get
Yeah.
know to them.
Yeah.
And it was just like, just convenience sake. And I think I started doing a lot of things in my life because of, it was just convenient for me. Like I would start teaching dance because, oh, it was convenient, the next step, or, oh, I was asked to do this, I'm going to do it. Like I was starting to do things that were just easily accessible to me and very convenient for me, and not because it was something I really wanted to do and something that I was excited to do. It was just, well, it's right in front of me. I can do it. Might as well do it.
Yeah. Definitely that step back and analyzing, what are my values? Okay. Does this
Yeah.
is the best course of action something that's actually going to make me fulfilled, that's going to put me one step closer to feeling human? Or
or like
is it
achieving
just,
your goals or
or
anything.
am I just going with what society thinks is best for me? And it's all a psyop of what makes you happy. And you see all these advertisements of these attractive people, of these people that are rich and it's lavish, and they funnel you all these things that you think you want. But most people don't ask themselves, what do I want? And actually reflecting and taking into account everything holistically.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
feel
definitely a
or
massive step.
people will just think of like societal norms and be like, okay, this is what society wants me to do, or this is what society tells me to do, this is what I should do, rather than being like, what if I think outside the box, or what if I do it for myself and not for society? I think sometimes people focus too much on what society needs or wants rather than what they want themselves.
True. What practices do you rely on for personal healing and maintaining mental health?
Definitely self-reflection, and just self-reflection, like meditation as well. Just focusing on myself, taking time to think about what I've done, what was good about it, what can be improved. And then I also have like this little app on my phone it's this Finch app bird. I think it's called Finch, and it's just like this little bird that you grow and take care of, and like you set your goals for the day. It's so
you
cheesy.
Got another pet.
Basically, it's like a little phone pet. And honestly, because it just like you set your goals through the day, and it's like you collect the points, and then you get enough energy, and then the bird goes on an adventure, and then it comes back from an adventure, and you learn something, and it grows up. It's so cheesy and silly.
Are you sponsored? You're not sponsored.
No, I'm not sponsored by them.
But Finch, if you're listening.
we got
an advocate.
But it's good to help like remind me of my goals and just like remember to get them done. And when I get them done, then it's like, yay, I get a little reward.
That's funny.
Because sometimes I forget to do like the most bare minimum tasks of like daily things. So then I have to check the app, and then it reminds me to do those little activities. And it's like, okay. Or like, I'll just, because like one of them will be name someone who cares about you.
Gratitude.
There's like so many things. Like I'll remind, like there's so much gratitude on it. So it will help be gratitude. And then there's also, like reflection things on it. And then, I find it very much helps me remind me of my goals and keep me kind of like focused on my day. And then, I like looking at quotes, listening to music. All that
whatever
stuff.
works for you. Hey, and if the Finch is growing strong by the day, you don't forget to feed it, then you're also doing well. So it's a mutualism relationship. In what ways have taking breaks or practicing self-help techniques benefited your growth as an artist?
Every time I've gone on a break, I find like my fire is just relit, and I come back stronger for it. When I took that big dance break in 2020, when I came back that following dance season in like the fall of 2021, I felt like I didn't feel like my best version of myself as a dancer. I knew like my strongest days had passed me because I had gone through an injury pre-COVID. But like, so I knew I wasn't going to be like my physically strongest, but I just had this new love for it. And I had this new excitement and this readiness of, I'm ready to learn more. I'm ready to grow again. I'm ready to be in this community. And like from that break, I also started teaching dance as well. So there was like a new outlet of excitement for that. So yeah, I find just whenever I take a break, I find I'm just able to reset my intention. I'm able to reset my why as to like why I'm a dancer or why I'm a photographer. I'm able to reset that reason and intention. So when I come back to it, I'm just so much more stronger, and I'm like that fire is relit for those projects that are upcoming.
Thank you for coming on the long-term podcast and
Thank you
sharing
for
your story.
having me. Had so much fun. It was great talking.
Yeah. This is Emily Stodola, everyone. Are there any last words you'd like to say to the listeners, viewers?
Be fearless, and if you want to start something, just start it.
Yeah.
Even though that sounds impossible, you just got to go for it. I think. Be fearless. Just go.
Be fearless.
Do it.
Don't be scared. Just go for it. And as always, for everyone listening and watching, there is a place for you in this chaotic world. Never lose hope, strengthen your faith, and keep it long term. Peace.
We did it.